4 NBA players who deserve a new team. There are some players out there that are the sole superstars for their team, and they definitely earn their money every time they suit up and play. But unfortunately, their teams are not very successful due to the other players that their franchise puts around them. So in this video, I will be listing the players that I think deserves more help around them in order to take the next step and be successful. Now let me clarify, I'm not saying that these players are on horrible teams. I'm just saying that they're not good enough to compete for a championship at the moment. Also, I'm not saying that these players need to be traded or join another team. I'm just saying that their GMs need to do a better job at giving them the right role players to work with. Brook Lopez. I know most people don't really consider him a superstar, but he is definitely the superstar for the Brooklyn Nets, averaging 20 points and 7 rebounds per game. And I believe if you were to put better players around him, Brooklyn could be a contender in the East. Jeremy Lin is a nice player to have in the point guard position, but not enough to be a starting point guard if you want to go deep in the playoffs. Other than that, who else do the Nets really have? Luis Scola is getting old, Anthony Bennett is a bust, and they just let go of Thaddeus Young in the offseason, who was a very solid piece to have, but now with him in Indiana, I can't see the Nets having any success this year. What they need to do is upgrade their backcourt. They need to get a proven guard who can help Jeremy Lin in the backcourt, because Shane Larkin is way too inconsistent. And Brooklyn also needs more defensive help because they were one of the worst defensive teams last year. So if they can work on those flaws in those areas, then I have no doubt that Brook Lopez, with the addition of other good solid players, can make the Nets a true contender in the East. James Harden. The Oklahoma City Thunder clearly did not know what they had in James Harden, and I still believe that was a massive mistake getting rid of him because now he is an incredible superstar for the Houston Rockets. But one thing I will say is that there definitely was better players around him in OKC than what he has now in Houston. Dwight Howard signed with the Atlanta Hawks, and I know he's not the same player like he was in Orlando, but the Rockets really didn't get anyone to replace him in the offseason, and Howard's big presence will be missed down low. Nene is not what he once was, and Capella is still young and has some physical maturing to do. Patrick Beverley is injured, and yes, he is a good defender, but isn't really an offensive threat at all. Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon is solid additions to their roster, but I don't think it's enough to compete for a championship. With Ty Lawson now on the Sacramento Kings, James Harden needs another player who can handle the ball and help him with the playmaking. Also, if they can get a stronger presence down low to fill in Howard's shoes, James Harden and the Houston Rockets can be a scary good team. DeMarcus Cousins. He is a multiple-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA second team, and averaged an amazing 26 points and 10 rebounds per game last season. He is one of the best big men in the league, but shockingly has never made it to the playoffs. And I believe it's because Sacramento doesn't know how to build a proper team around him. It's been known that Cousins is a very difficult player to please. He didn't have the best relationship with former head coach George Karl, and it's been heard that Cousins felt disrespected that the Kings keep drafting more centers instead of drafting players that can provide talent on other areas of the court. They hired a decent head coach, Dave Yeager, but that's not enough to compete on a high level. What they really need are more consistent scorers. Rudy Gay is a very good scorer, but didn't really do it on a consistent basis. And maybe that's why Rudy never really became a star in the league. So as long as Sacramento surrounds DeMarcus Cousins with better scorers, then they will be a very dangerous and talented team in the near future, and they better do it quick before he becomes a free agent soon, or else he will probably leave. Anthony Davis. When it comes to building a team around a certain player, Anthony Davis is definitely up there on the top of the list. He is probably one of the most versatile and talented centers in the NBA today and has been putting up crazy numbers for the Pelicans. So why is their record so horrible? Don't look at Davis, it's because the rest of the team looks very weak. And you can just tell, they are not going to make it very far unless they change it up quick. The Pelicans roster is not very pretty. Other than Davis, they have a very small Tim Frazier at the point, Solomon Hill, who averages about 4 points per game, Buddy Hield, who is an unproven rookie, and I know Drew Holiday and Tyreke Evans are good players, but not good enough to get to the next level and contend for a championship. So maybe what the Pelicans need to do is make some big trades or sign some solid free agents. Basically, they need to do whatever it takes to make Anthony Davis satisfied, or else New Orleans is going to lose one of the most elite players in the game. So if the Pelicans can provide more options for Anthony Davis, then he has a great chance of winning the MVP if their team is successful. I was thinking about putting Russell Westbrook on this list, but now that we got a glimpse of how decent the Thunder actually are, I've come to the conclusion that Russell Westbrook has a pretty solid team around him in OKC, and I think they have a great chance of making the playoffs this year. So those were the players that I think deserve more help on their teams. And their GMs better act quick before their star players lose patience and leave for someone else. So what NBA stars do you think deserve more help on their teams? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.